people excited and get some more people coming down.
Yeah. You know, one concern that a lot of people have is what's going to happen in the wintertime.
We're going to be
cold.
cold.
Like a long-term occupation is like, it's going to be harder to get the same numbers, but I feel like if you have that constant presence and you have that energy, you still have huge rallies on specific days.
Right.
Like the 15th, it's like people all over the world.
Yeah, that was incredible.
You can repeat that a few times and just keep on growing the numbers. That's what you're aiming for.
I see more new faces today than I've seen.
A lot of these people weren't here Saturday.
This is actually the first time I came down here.
Happens.
Oh, really?
Once you actually
I'm kicking myself for not coming on Saturday, though. I didn't realize how big it was.
That was
I mean, the numbers have dwindled a bit,
but
it's,
that was the big push.
you know.
Not forcing a confrontation Saturday.
I think
part of that global
day. You just have a set place.
Yeah.
In Seattle, most of the places they have signs where it's like, are you new? Come here, talk here, and then figure out what our communication, what we're trying to say.
Welcome center.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to get.
We really say, you know, this is what our message is. This is, you know, if media come and talk to you. This would probably be the first couple of things that you might want to say in terms of, you know, when you get people in the streets and they're talking and they're, you know, really communicating on issues. That's how you solve issues. Having people there, not getting them out, you know, yapping with listening to other like individuals. Do it here, and that's all you can do. And you continue that process. You don't like find one solution first. You just continue it. You have as many parts in the world where you just, this is what our problem is. How do we make these people have clean health and be fed so that we can continue to expand that wherever it is, whatever city it is that having an issue, or even across the border. Get rid of these fucking borders. It doesn't matter. There's cities all across the world that are doing this too. It's not just an American thing.
No.
It's all over the place.
No,
so in terms of actually getting people out, that's what we got. It's a fantastic movement.
It is fantastic. It is fantastic.
Occupy your job.
I've been waiting 20 years for this.
Yeah, I'm class of 2001.
Okay.
So I graduated I was going through the Human Genome Project, all that stuff. So I'm a biochemistry major.
Oh, awesome.
So in terms of figuring out where we were going at that point, I went into college. My first 3 weeks of college was 9/11. So 9/11, I spent my whole 4 years supposed to be going through like genetic research. Spent my whole 4 years writing about that 4 years of Bush, and then going into the war, seeing some of my friends go in, and you know, were first in the airborne, drop in Iraq, and then leading up to the 2005 election, and like no one seemed to really have an opinion or care or be aware, or it's like a complacency thing. This allows that complacency to like not just dwindle there. It's in your face, it's around, and it allows people to get down and listen. And that's what creates awareness. That's what we're doing.
My biggest hope for the Occupy movement is to get some real action on climate change. I feel like this is just gonna make poverty 100 times worse. It's gonna destroy every economy everywhere in the world, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's like the majority of people in the U.S. believe that climate change is happening, but it's just like no one's talking about it. The issue just isn't out there. It's not going to change until
we're talking about it.
Yeah.
But it's true. There are some places like and some of the other Occupies, they're just there. They're waiting for an answer. We're waiting for leaders. And if you look at that, I went around 2000, 2001, 2005. Who do you think our leaders are? Who were our greatest social leaders? Most of them were assassinated in the 70s and like early 60s.
Right.
Who do you think our contemporary leaders are today? And most of them are TV icons, celebrities, people that donate. You know, it's not actual change in terms of how we do things. You either believe in inequality or you don't. You know, I mean, it's like you have to do something to change what we do as a structure in our community. So what do we do? Well, 2005, when I was writing that paper, that was right when Facebook came out. And you see the social media and the way that we can communicate on a real-time basis with people all over the world, and then you see what it's done in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to learn from other countries how we communicate, because they had a community of people that talked together. So when they got social media, it was able to really have a real impact. Here it's taken a while because we're so we're connected to things, you know, we're learning. And this younger generation, they're calling them the screenagers. All we do is learn on screens. And we're bombarded with images that don't mean anything. So what do we do to awaken people, get away from that disconnect of like the celebrity stuff, and really change stuff? This is how it starts.
This movement.
This is how it starts.
Getting public discourse in a realm which, average person can actually go out and contribute something.
There's a practical element to it too, because the fact that we're making decisions by general consensus, and then we can actually do that with the diversity of opinion that we have. That's an important thing, because I think I know for me, like I was coming to the point where I was like, I don't think we can really make decisions together anymore.
Yeah.
Like we're
Like, why
all
bother
crazy.
with
Right.
You know?
So that, like what you were saying, you got this, you got little ways to communicate, you have a collective group that can agree on at least their message for the day,
Right.
and then you post that, and you allow the other cities that are doing the same thing to maybe broadcast that, just like we're doing. You know, it's like you have a computer, you hook that in, you get a projector, you know, a cheap one, put it up, and then listen, you know, sit and listen to some of the other occupies, and then you really get a collective understanding of what everyone else is talking about, so you have a real cohesive argument or understanding of what this movement could possibly mean, not just for one issue, but for multiple issues for however long, and hopefully for a long period of time until everyone's off the street.
Right.
But I feel like
that's the point.
I feel like even without articulating specific demands, the Occupy movement is all held together by feeling that the political process is just not legitimate.
Right.
That the process has to change.
Right.
Everything else can follow from that.
Right.
But we don't. I mean, no one just wants to see like a few laws passed, because America's not a democracy right now. I mean, it's an oligarchy, and everyone knows that.
Right.
That's not true. Not everyone does that.
Yeah, not everyone.
And we don't teach our kids that.
Yeah. Yeah, I exaggerate. I do think a lot of people know, but are just really cynical and really apathetic.
Well,
It's scary.
we
They
don't
just
teach how to
feel
live
like
in a
they have-
democracy
don't
anymore.
feel like they have
We
a
don't.
voice.
Yeah, that's true.
And most people, when they become aware of what the political system is, they're way too old, and then by that time they've already got ingrained to not care. I mean, when were 18-year-olds allowed given the vote? Do you know?
No, I don't.
1970. The only reason 18-year-olds were given the right to vote was because of the draft.
Right.
That's it. Before that, they were 21. Right now, there's a push for 16-year-olds trying to get the vote.
Mm-hmm.
But and I'm a strong supporter of this. I think if we had like our youth, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, if they had the right to vote, our political system would care about our education system. We would be teaching it at that age, because we think, okay, you know, we have people that drop out of school at a really young age, but they're still allowed to vote. But they're still voting at an elementary school level or a high school level. How well do you really understand the basis of our Constitution and what we want to do in terms of change?
Right.
We need to redo our political system in terms of education.
Right.
And they're not teaching. They're arguing. They're not talking about issue, real change.
Yeah,
they're
there's-
talking about all of this other stuff and fear mongering. Because we're in a state of war.
Like, why is
War
something
attack.
like gay marriage like a national priority for the U.S. government? Like, come on, that's not something like governments like.
Inequality. The more people you have involved in the system, the more people that are going to be able to speak. Especially if you have them fighting overseas.
Actually, I'm doing
You
a
guys
hell
wanna
of
see
a
that
lot
fun?
better today than I was the last 2 days, so I don't think I am going to need them. But thank you very much. I'm it's like a pink with some purple. Yeah, it's not too bad. So I won't.
You're about to
Yeah,
have a
I'm
G,
down at. I'm
I think
down
so.
at
I think we're supposed to.
There's actually one of the guys from Seattle is here, so I'm gonna.
You should watch this.
I will.
You like this.
Can I call you back later? All right. Bye.
You guys don't have 4G in this,
Probably not.
Do you hear that? You probably can't. Does your computer have sound?
Yeah.
Is it loud?
Not really.
Not really.
We need speakers.
We
Put it
need
on the list.
Yeah.
Speakers. That would be one
We need
thing.
speakers and a projector. That actually. would
When I was
Speaking of
when I was 9
speakers.
years old, I ran for supervisor in California. So this is my campaign video when I was 9 years old. It went media wide. It was national news in like 1992 when Bush and Clinton were running. So it was all about the same stuff. And it's like now that this is actually starting to move forward, it allows like younger generations to kind of
get
become
involved.
a part of it. I'll give you the link.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
So you know what? Because I have it listed here, Occupy Richmond.